Guys, welcome back. It's Scott here again with PassMasters with our next question of the day. And this question has to do with the physical and economic characteristics of land, which you'll need to know for your exam. So let's go ahead and get on into it. It says, which of the following is not an economic characteristic of land? So tip here, before you go to the answers, you got to figure out what they're asking. We're going to have three answers here that are economic characteristics of land. And sometimes on the exam, when you read that and your brain sees that terminology, you might read the first answer and think, that's an economic characteristic of land. I'm going to pick that one. But you get it wrong, because here the question, we're looking for what's not an economic characteristic of land. So we should have three economic characteristics of land, and one that is not, and the one that's not is going to be our correct answer. Let's take a look at our first answer. First answer is the ability to be improved. Improvements, also known as modification. It is an economic characteristic of land and basically states that you can make improvements to the land to make it more valuable, and sometimes those improvements could make it less valuable. Now that's an economic characteristic of land. Is that our answer? No. Moving forward. Location, also known as area preference or situs, is an economic characteristic of land and therefore not our correct answer. Now, the location or situs is very important. Is the property located in an area that has a great school district and it's low crime? Well, then the value of that property would be higher. Well, what if it's in a high crime area with a really poor school district? Well, the value would be lower. So, of course, we see here these things can have a positive or negative impact on the value of the property. Scarcity is our next answer. Scarcity is an economic characteristic of land, which basically states that, listen, land is scarce. You might not think so depending on where you live, but say you're in downtown LA. Well, how much land is there to develop? Well, hardly any. You live in the middle of nowhere. Well, there's plenty of land. But basically with scarcity, what we're talking about here is it's not infinite. There's only so much land that can be developed. Now, since we've got three answers that we've gone through here that are economic characteristics of land, our last answer has to be the correct answer, even if maybe we don't know. But let's take a look at it. Immobility. Immobility is not an economic characteristic of land. What is it? It's a physical characteristic of land, which essentially says that land cannot be moved. All right, so let's just double check, make sure that's the correct answer. Yep, it is. Now, moving on to the explanation here for the question, we see here, real estate has many unique characteristics that make it different from other types of products. Characteristics of real estate can be divided into physical and economic. Now, you need to know these for your exam. Test questions here. It's memorization, really, not a whole lot of difficult concepts or anything. The physical characteristics of land can be remembered with the acronym HID, HID. They are heterogeneity or non-homogeneity, which essentially means each parcel of land is unique from one another. Next one is immobility, as we talked about in the question. This was the correct answer because it was a physical characteristic, not economic. Location of the property can never be changed. And durable. Land is indestructible, which basically means, well, I'll give an example. You have a home on your land and the home catches on fire and burns down. Is the land still there? Sure is. It can be redeveloped. So those are the physical characteristics of land. Moving on further with the explanation, we see that there are the economic characteristics of land, which we need to know. And of course, those impact the value, positive, negative, could be. You can remember them with the acronym SIPA, S-I-P-A, and they are as follows. Scarcity. Land is not limitless. Improvements, or also known as modification. Depending on what you do to the land, you can increase or decrease the value of it. Permanence of investment, which is also known as fixity. Investments in real estate are long-term. And area preference, or situs, refers to the location of the property and is based upon many factors: history, convenience, and reputation. This one's probably going to have the biggest impact on an increase or decrease in value, the area preference or situs, which is an economic characteristic of land. And that wraps up that question for the question of the day today. You need to know those for your exam. Keep up the hard work, keep studying. You're going to get there, you're going to pass your exam, and you're going to become a great real estate agent.